Hello, everybody, and welcome to F1 Unhinged, where today we're probably going to live up to that name. I am Josh.
And I'm Tyler.
And woo, it's been a week here at F1 Unhinged. Let me tell you, we have had a week, but on the bright side, we actually had things happen in F1 this week. We don't have to dig in the dirt for any random thing to talk about.
I mean, there's still few things to talk about.
Yeah,
but
it's mainly just livery launches, but we did get some cars on tracks, and the one thing even from the livery launches we got is the new front wings are awesome. The new front wings may be my favorite part of the new cars because they look like the Alonso area Renault, and I'm really happy about that because I love cool curvy front wings. I want my cars to have curves, damn it.
just like your women.
Just like my everything. Everything's better with curves.
Makes sense. Makes sense as to why I didn't fit into that mold.
Oh yeah, we're living up to it today. For those unaware, I've been highly medicated because I decided to slice part of my eyeball open on accident.
And I went on a 3-day weekend hiatus from existing as a human to a place in the woods in a cabin, and returning back to normal life is miserable.
Yeah, you were on a cabin, I was on a couch. That's how we both spent the last few days of our lives. So
I had a hot tub though, so that was A+.
Again, for the third different reason, fuck off. But I get to go to Daytona this week where you get to sit in a foot snowstorm. So I feel like we're even.
Yeah, we're pretty much even. I got to it was also snowing while in the hot tub, which is also a perk, but also is cold. But we'll get a foot of snow this weekend in Ohio, and you'll be in Daytona where it's sunshine and beaches. So I won't say fuck you to that because it's a trade.
Yeah. We even out. I am excited that it's gonna be nice weather again. I kind of got really lucky, whereas when I went 2 years ago, the weather was unseasonably warm, even for Daytona. It was really, really nice. It got into the 80s. Then it was kind of crap weather last year and cold in the 50s. And then this year I'm going and it's going to be 70s and sunny again. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like to see.
We should maybe partially mention the change in schedule next week actually maybe not. I don't know if we're going to do a live stream next week, so maybe we don't have to do that.
Yeah. For being, yeah, I don't really. So I'll be in Daytona next week. We're recording on a Sunday night instead of the Monday that we normally record. So the audio, everything will be normal as it always is. The video, we'll see.
We'll have a video. Well,
barring anything going crazy, we'll have video.
Yeah.
We are hostage to how good the Wi-Fi is in my hotel.
Yeah.
But in theory, everything will be normal. But just giving you guys a little advanced warning that if something goes haywire, it's because
it would be more of a YouTube problem than anything. But also, I don't know I think we might be nixing the Twitch after tonight. So
yes,
not nixing it permanently, just saving Twitch for special occasions and not live broadcasting every episode. Just it saves us a bit of time and a bit of stress. So
yeah, exactly.
And reliability.
Yeah, 100%. Trying to get this all live stream for every episode, it's just been more hassle than it's worth for two people who don't have their own editors. So it's easier to just. Now we will be live streaming, barring anything happening, the first race of the season. because it's at a time here in the States where both Tyler and I are available and we can do that. So at least the first race of the year we'll be able to live stream. We're going to try to do more live stream races next season, but it just has to fit with schedules over here in the US. When races occur over here isn't the most friendly for us live streaming. So it will be a race by race thing on how that works. And we'll try to keep you guys informed as much as possible ahead of time of which ones we can and which ones we can't.
Yeah. Yeah. But we got some livery to talk about.
I'm interested. Let's do it this way because it might be easier to get through all of them and talk about it this way. I'm interested in what your favorite livery was so far. And for those listening right now, we've had 3 livery reveals. Red Bull, Racing Bulls, V-Carb. I don't actually know what they're calling themselves now because they said Racing Bulls, but then in the broadcast they kept calling themselves V-Carb. So I don't actually know what they're going by this year.
Well, I
And
think
Haas.
it could be Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. That was last season's thing. So it's Racing Bulls, but just shortening it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
From what I understood last year, the whole point of saying the Racing Bulls thing was so that we didn't have to say V-Carb. And then they started calling it V-Carb, and I'm just like, well, shit, what was the point? So I don't know.
I think
Whatever.
so far from and this is only because we've only seen 3 liveries. There are still 9 other teams on the grid that we haven't seen. I would say my favorite is Red Bull, but it's a hard decision just because Haas actually looks really, really, really good, like incredibly good. So I in my like rationale, I would say Red Bull first, Haas second, Racing Bulls third. Red Bull first, not because of the fact that they didn't change anything. They did change a bunch of things, but my favorite thing is that detail when you zoom in on the photos and the light, it says Red Bull all over the car in like an off
Yeah,
blue
the little
shade.
glitch kind of design.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that to me was super impressive. But it's hard because Haas's car, as much as I don't like Haas, their car looks fantastic. And also, they actually showed the 2026 car. Red Bull, I don't know if they actually showed their design for the 2026
So
car.
so I actually dug into this a little bit. It's a yes and no. It is the very early design of their car.
So it's not the final.
No, it is the early approximation of their car, but it is not the current design of their car. But it's enough to give you where they were going with the design, if that makes
Okay.
any sense.
No, that makes total sense.
So it's what the car looked like at the start of their design group. And to give you an idea of it, I don't know if you saw the Castor store accidentally on their pictures. They have some pictures of the car on there, and it's of the number 1. So my guess is that car design was the design iteration before the season was even over, when the championship was still yet to be decided. So Max was still rocking the number 1. So that would be my guess. I know it's a pretty early design, but this time it was confirmed that it's not just the F1 show car with nothing done to it. It is a little bit of the design of the Red Bull, just the very, very early approximation of
Okay.
it. I think I'm going to surprise you with my answer. I think mine is actually the Haas. for a simple reason that I may change when we see them on track. I'm worried that the light blue won't show enough.
That's fair.
So that it will just be mostly the dark blue and you won't see the light blue very often. Because
Yeah, 'cause there are a few night races.
I watched the video a couple times. Well, I'm actually worried about the light blue not showing during the daytime now. Because
But
I
last
watched the
episode you
video.
were last episode so you were saying you would be stoked if it was glossy. So that's kind of why I'm confused why I picked Haas, because it's not a matte finish anymore, it's a glossy.
Because when I originally saw the design, I'm like, oh, in the day races, the light blue is going to show really good. And then in the night races, the dark blue is going to show. But then I watched some stuff on the video that they did, like the release video with the prop plane pulling the cover off. And if you look closely at that, and it could just be what they did with the cameras, trying to hide things with darker color, it looked very dark. I'm hoping it's just because they didn't go the full paint because they were trying to hide some things, so they wanted it to look darker than it's actually gonna look. But my worry is that they didn't do enough with the light blue to where it's actually gonna pop on camera.
I think my question is, with Red Bull trying to hide certain aspects of their car, it's and I could be wrong, but in my mind, it seems like it's a bit too late for any team to directly copy Red Bull for the beginning of the season. We're less than
But
2 months
it
away.
doesn't matter. Like, you have people who their job is to spy on other teams constantly for any idea. There's a reason 90% of the photographers on pit lane don't work for a media outlet, they work for other teams. It Any idea you can possibly get from another team, anything takes months and months and months to develop. So you wanna know ahead of time, even if it's fruitless, even if it's something that you don't end up using, you would rather have the knowledge and not need it than need the knowledge and not have it.
So on the return side of that, then this is Haas basically saying we've got nothing to lose by showing our full 2026 car? Like,
Well, the other the other side of this coin is how good do you think your engine is?
that speaks oh, that speaks volumes about Toyota. Ooh.
Well, but they're using a Ferrari. So, do they think the Ferrari engine is good enough that it doesn't matter, or do they think it's bad enough it doesn't matter? Or do they think they're Haas and nobody's gonna copy them?
I think it's a combination of all three. Tifosi's gonna say our engine's perfect and nothing's wrong with it. Haas is gonna say your engine sucks, and also Haas is gonna say we suck, so no one's gonna copy us.
I It's hard to say. It really is, especially with the team like Haas, because I don't think Haas is a much quieter team now, so we don't necessarily understand the dynamics on how they're operating and what's important to them. And I think a lot of that's really going to change with the Toyota involvement, where Toyota is really stepping up their involvement in the team. And you do have to wonder if eventually Toyota's going to decide to make an engine or if they're just happy with this kind of arrangement. But it's hard to ignore the fact that Toyota's biggest rival in the series that matters a lot to them, WEC, is Ferrari. And I think at some point that's going to come to a head. It I think
That's fair.
Haas is trying to bridge that gap because they do owe Ferrari a lot for helping them build stability where other teams couldn't. Because look, we're both not fans of Gene Haas, but I do also think it's important to mention most new teams in the era that Haas came in folded. Haas didn't. Haas scored points. You know, Manor, which is their team principal, is now the one in charge of the Cadillac project. They left F1 because in the season where they really needed to score points, they couldn't. In the 2016 season, that was their last season, and they couldn't get a point, and they really needed points.
Yeah. And Renault too, right?
And but the same season that Manor came in and was terrible, Haas had a great season. And so there does well, the season Manor left for being terrible is the season Haas came in, and Haas is part of what killed Manor. And all credit to Haas for that, because coming in scoring points in your first race, finishing not in last place in the constructors, I believe the first year they were in F1, they finished like sixth, and that's back when we had more teams. Or maybe it was eighth, but something like that. They weren't last, which is what matters. So I do think some credit needs to be given to Haas for surviving this long and being a genuinely prosperous team. I would have thought they'd have gotten a podium by now with how good they started out, but I think the new era of F1 hurt them a lot because their partnership no longer worked. The model that they were on no longer worked, and couldn't really foresee that, and that kind of put a big wrench in. But I do have to give them credit for surviving this long, and they owe a lot of that to Ferrari. So I think Haas is in a really awkward spot where you have this partnership that you owe a lot to, but will never get better than it is now. And now you
Yeah.
have Toyota coming in who's offering you things you've never had before. Simulators, offices, you know, it's wild to me to think that Haas never had their own simulator. They had to rent out time basically in Ferrari simulator. That's wild. That's
Yeah.
wild to me. And now they actually have a simulator thanks to Toyota. You know, it's going to be hard for that relationship to maintain when Toyota keeps throwing things at them. Eventually that partnership's going to break where Ferrari feels like it's not working for them anymore.
Yeah. I agree with that. So obviously V-Carb Racing Bulls is number 3 or the last on the list as of this moment.
I think it's going to be
What
one of the worst grids all year, or
well,
one of the
no,
worst
not
liveries all
not
year.
okay, there we go. But that's kind of what I wanted to dive into. And I kind of know one or two things about why you don't like the Racing Bulls livery. We talked about it pre-show, but maybe we should dive into that and understand it.
They took away some of the coolest elements of it, which were the little blue bulls on the side of it. That was awesome. They replaced that with just some generic blue lines. The carbon fiber halo's stupid. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So do those stupid carbon fiber mirrors. And here's the problem with the whole reason they kept it is because it was a fan favorite. But when everybody else changes drastically, or at least some other teams change drastically, and you have, you know, you look at the Haas. The Haas is a drastic change in livery. The Red Bull feels kind of drastic because they've been using the same matte finish, dark blue, almost black look for years. When you keep something basically the same and the only thing you change are people's favorite parts, The white halo worked last year. It looked great. The blue bulls on the side that they also use in the team kit were most people's favorite part of the livery. You get rid of both of those and you keep the matte white look, which, like, if you put that next to the Haas, it just looks terrible. And unfortunately, like, fair or not, you get compared to the cars that look like you. We know we have 2 white cars on the grid right now, and one of them is drastically more impressive than the other. And it's even worse, I think, for V-Carb, Racing Bulls, whatever the fuck you wanna call them, because based on what we expect of general form, that's who they're gonna be racing. So you're gonna be competing against the team with the better version of your look now. And I'm sorry, this may sound cruel, but anytime Haas beats you in anything, you need to rethink what you're doing.
I mean, we shit on Haas all the time, so I don't think it sounds that cruel based on what we've spoken about in the past. But
It's not cruel because it's reality. If you're doing anything and Haas beats you in it, in Formula One, if you are in Formula One and Haas is beating you, you need to recheck what you're doing because you're not doing enough. Because you know, there's a lot of things we don't know about this year. The one thing we all know is Haas is not winning the title.
yeah,
So if Haas is beating you in something, you should be doing better. There is no and that goes in anything. There is nothing Haas does that is the best in F1. So if they're beating you in something, it's your failure, not their success.
yeah, that's
And
fair.
I really think they missed an opportunity to do something cool. I you know what irritates me most about it is I have gotten used to the idea of their car changing drastically every year. I was expecting something much more than a cheap rebrand of the car they used the year before because they don't normally do that.
Well, it's crazy because the intro video during the live broadcast was "We do things differently,"
Yeah, and then it's
but
like,
it's the
no,
same thing. It's the
you
same
did the same
livery.
car but worse. That's not differently. You fucked it up.
You changed the best aspects of your livery for the worst aspects and kept the whole car basically the same otherwise.
I wish they'd approached their car like they did some of their one-off liveries during the year because there's like 6 of them that are better than anything that they did with this.
I feel that way a lot about many teams,
I
actually.
agree. I agree.
Like,
I
I think the one-off liveries are massive, and, like, there's so many of them that I'm like, "That should just been your permanent livery." Like,
The one Red
why
Bull used
not?
in Miami a couple years ago, it wasn't much
That was
different, but it was just a little different and it was so much better. And I'm like, damn, just do this all year.
yeah. And, like, we were talking it was either before or during the broadcast because we watched it live together, via texting. Uh, and you were like, "It had to stay on brand." And I made a statement similar to the, like, as long as you have the Red Bull logo on it, it's gonna be on brand. Like, you see the Red Bull logo, you automatically know it's Red Bull.
Yeah.
And
It,
so, like,
and to
you can
that
change the
part,
colors.
yeah, to that part, I agree. It's just, I'm also a little annoyed. There's not much green. I know that's a weird thing to be mad about, but like,
Where's green come in Red Bull?
well, for the V carb, for the Cash App
Uh,
part,
oh,
they,
yeah, you're
they
right.
like, I don't know.
That's a title sponsor. That's a title
Yeah,
sponsor too.
yeah,
Like,
like shit. As ugly as
well,
it would have been, I would have excused the green halo for sponsorship. Like, it would have still been
I
ugly, but at least it would have made sense. The carbon makes no goddamn sense. And it
I would have
annoys me.
loved an all yellow Red Bull car. with different colored accents. So like yellow with the Ford blue and some red somewhere. Because there's not a yellow car on the grid. I
See
think that would look so sick.
what I thought they were going to do. So in F1 Academy, I, I I thought they were teasing something in F1 Academy, and I kind of got honeydicked on that one, where
Or
they had
blue balled.
literally blue balled in this case, where four one of Red Bull split up their academy kind of weird in F1 Academy, where they actually had a Red Bull and a Red Bull Ford, and they had the Racing Bulls. So they actually had 3 different versions. The Red Bull Ford was an actually interesting livery because it was a lighter blue. I thought that's what they were going to do with the V carb. I thought they were going to use the light blue for V carb with some dark blue accents, and then do something that was dark blue with light blue accents for the actual Red Bull. And instead we got the white, and I'm just like, and if I was Ford, I'd be a little annoyed because I don't know if you looked at the side of the car, but the Ford logo is just on black carbon.
Yeah.
I was just like, you can't be that overweight. Like, are you guys really that overweight that you can't even have paint on like vital parts of the? Because I hope that's the reason. Because if it was done for design choices, your designer needs fired. It was just
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. I agree with that.
If you're going to be the fun team, you need fun colors. Matte
And that's what
white
their
isn't
whole
a fun color.
that's what their whole intro video, like, we're the team that does things differently and the team that does things fun, and like we don't care about the norms and this and that.
If
And
they
it's
were
like you just came out with the most boring livery I've seen in years.
if they were smart, they would have made it light blue with some neon green accents for the Cash App. Boom, pops. It's a fun car. Instead, they have the white car that's not the Haas.
I think that for me, like the whole fun car aspect is what bothers me a lot about Formula One is like not many if any teams outside of like one-off liveries actually like make their like full-time livery like fun. Ferrari, it's gonna be a red car with black, some yellow.
And
That's given.
probably a
And
shitty white chunk with an HP logo that looks like garbage.
yeah, and McLaren's gonna be orange or papaya
I'll give
with
McLaren credit.
black.
Sometimes they do some fun stuff with their cars.
Well, they do, but it's not permanent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
I
teams
think
need
that's
to
why I
have a
like the Haas
funner
livery
permanent
so
livery.
much. Is I really, really just think that livery looks like something I want to see every race.
Yeah, yeah. I think it looks fantastic. And it does pain me to say that Haas did something right,
Well, and
but they did do
that's
something
why
right.
I saw some people complaining about like the little glitch look on the Red Bull paint, and I'm like, dude, if that was a
Why?
one-off livery, you would love it. Like,
Yeah.
I like that they did something a little weird on the car. Like,
And to your point, you're probably not gonna see it during the race.
I hope you see more of it.
I hope you do, but given the way that the cameras show the cars, there's no way that's gonna show up when they're going 200 miles an hour. No way.
Unless they've just really dumbed it down a little bit as far as like not wanting to show stuff on camera. That's the hope I'm holding in the back of my head. It's like they muted it a little bit so that it wouldn't show some stuff on camera. It wouldn't show accentuation points and things like that. That's my hope. That's what I'm holding on to.
I'm really trying hard to not like wreck your hope, but
But even if it's not, I still like it. It's still an 8 out of 10 for me. If not, like I love the livery. I do. I just think Haas cooked this year. To me, that Haas is a 10 out of 10 livery. Like that is
Yeah.
you, it's great for your sponsors. It's great for the look of the car. It's great for the fans. It's something that you want to see. It's a car that when you see it, you're like, oh, that's a good car. It looks fast. that as stupid as that sounds sometimes, you want your car to look fast, and it looks fast.
I think I'm most excited about the Audi and Cadillac liveries. Like
Same, same.
I can't see another team like McLaren or Ferrari or Mercedes doing something crazy with their livery that changes things in like a crazy direction. And obviously that's kind of a cop out for me because Audi and Cadillac are both new teams, so they have the opportunity to it's the first time, but they also
Well,
have the opportunity to do crazy cool things with their livery.
Well, and Audi's the one that I'm most excited about because they're the only ones who have talked about like, hey, we actually put research into figuring out how this would look on camera. It was important how this car looked to us. They specifically referenced how shitty the Ferrari looks with their crappy HP logo on it that fucking looks like branded toilet paper more than anything.
Leave it to the Germans to shit on Italians.
Well, it's not hard
Well,
to shit on Ferrari these days.
I will say, the team kit for Audi came out.
And I saw the drivers also release their helmets. I really, really, really like
Yes.
Hulkenberg's helmet. Really,
Hulk's
really like
helmet
his
looks
helmet.
sick. Hulk's helmet is awesome. And I
Yeah.
want like a mini helmet so bad.
Gabby's is basically the same, but that's also because he uses that design for everything. So I didn't expect his to change much. Hulk
Yeah.
tends to change his based on the team that he's with. He's one that follows the team kit a lot more often. He has his basic design that doesn't really have a set color to it. So he's able to morph his a lot more to a team profile where Gabby runs that Senna tribute idea. But I really liked how the helmets looked,
Yeah.
especially Hulk's, which gives me a lot of hope for how the Audi livery is going to look.
I think it's
The
gonna be a lot
Cadillac
of
test
black, gray, and
livery,
red.
I don't know if you saw the Cadillac test livery, but it was actually kind of cool. They
I don't
they
think I to be honest, I don't think I saw the Cadillac like live run and test
so
livery. So
the so the live run was just in pure carbon. Nothing.
okay, that's okay. So I did see that then.
But they released a test livery which has no sponsors, no anything on it. It's just a big Cadillac symbol. It almost looks like something you would get on the F1 game, but on on the car, they actually in small print have the names of everyone who worked on the car
Oh, that's so cool.
and like everyone involved in that whole process. And I thought that was a cool thing to do for I don't know if they're going to run that for the full testing or just when they do the shakedown. So so I don't know if it'll be in the televised testing or not. I didn't
That
read
would be
enough into it to figure that out. But regardless, it's really cool. Like
if
the
Cadillac.
design isn't anything special, but just the fact that they like, hey, the first time it's going to run in a testing session, it's going to have all your names on it. I think is a really solid thing to do.
Fuck, man. I was gonna say if they ran that for the full season, but I wanna say if they ran a livery that had the signature of every person that worked on that car in any single capacity for the first race of the season as a special one-off livery, they take the livery of the season for me because that's huge. Like people don't realize just how many humans work for an F1 team. It's not
Yeah,
just the pit crew, it's not just the team principal and the race engineers and the strategists and the drivers. It's hundreds of other people, whether they're at the race, at the circuit, they're at the factory, like to kind of especially in your inaugural race, like Cadillac coming in, if they were to run a livery that had every single signature of every single person that has worked that has done work on the car for the Cadillac F1 team, that takes my livery of the year for me. Like that is huge.
Unfortunately, that probably won't happen because this is
No,
probably just
it
the
won't.
testing. But even for testing, like I'm impressed with that. I think that's a cool idea. I and you know that's kind of one of the things I'm looking forward to this year is Audi versus Cadillac. And to a point, Audi
It's
versus
like Ford
Cadillac.
versus Ferrari.
But also versus Audi versus Red Bull to a point. We're like, okay, it's not necessarily the same thing, but Audi and Red Bull are the only two teams bringing in a brand new engine built from scratch. I'm very interested in how that will go for those teams. And I guess you can throw V-Carb in there. So even V-Carb versus Audi, maybe that's a more fair comparison. V-Carb versus Audi versus Cadillac. I'm really interested in how that will all go. There's so much uncertainty going into the year in a good way. And you can hear it when you're talking to team principals, or even the drivers, even Max. Like I heard an interview from Max after the car reveal in Detroit. It was really short thing just about, how I think they'll be. And like he said, look, none of us know. Like we'll see. We expect it to be tough. We don't really know. No one knows until they show up to the track. You know, we could be in a situation. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but we could be in a season where Alpine's really good next year.
Yeah,
They're taking on Mercedes engines. Maybe their car is actually decent.
I will
We don't
say
really know what's going to happen. It so much depends on the engine, and all these engines are brand new engines.
I will say, just going back to the Cadillac like livery thing, because I looked it up while we were talking. That's insanely cool. And that wouldn't be hard to incorporate in a whole season livery.
I just think it would be hard
Because
with sponsors. You might need to include some colors because of sponsors. Because I know that is a thing with design. Is some sponsors, if they're a bigger sponsor, require a certain amount of. That's been the big problem with HP and Ferrari. Is HP had a requirement of how their logo appears. I know that's a big thing. Anyone sponsored by Monster has to deal with. Is Monster requires like, hey, if we're going to be there, we're going to be there in our flat black with our logo. You got to figure out how to make that work. So some companies are more difficult with like, look, if our logo's showing up, there has to be this amount of space that's our colors and only our.
wh-
So you get
which
into
which is
things like
why
that.
Lando's only sponsored by Monster, not McLaren as a team. So,
Yeah. And
because then all he has to do is put on his helmet.
yeah.
But
And
no, I think that looks cool. I get the sponsorship part of it, but like Cadillac makes an asinine amount of money, and I still think I think Cadillac has enough leverage to be like, hey, for the first race of the season, we're gonna run this livery with every person that built this car's name on
I
it, and
I
then
think
every
you're
livery
more
after that's like
I think you're more likely to get something like that for one of the US races. I think
that's
I think
fair.
I think you're more likely to get a specialized livery for one of the US races.
I honestly don't see that livery happening unless Detroit gets an F1 race like it's been rumored to happen.
Ugh, I hope not.
I hope not, but it's been heavily speculated, and I can't see that happening in Miami. I can't see that happen in Vegas. I
I
could
think it would happen
possibly
in
see it happen.
Austin.
I think I was gonna say I think it would happen in Coda, but
I think
uh
they'd want to compete with Coda's going to be really interesting this year because Coda has always been Haas's kind of de facto home race, but they're not from there, so it's not like they have a monopoly on that. They're from North Carolina.
And now there's
So,
three American teams,
yeah, and
and two of them are
not
doing way better than Haas's in terms of being an American team.
it's gonna
Sue
make
me, Haas.
it's gonna make Coda very interesting for me as far as because Coda, one of the things that you could always buy there is there's a special Haas ticket with the special Haas viewing area. I almost bought it one year because it's the cheapest ticket, but then I had to fucking sit with all the Haas people in my Red Bull gear, and I thought that might be awkward because I refuse
Yeah, I
to
would.
wear gear of a team I don't support, even if it was for a cheaper ticket.
Yeah,
I'll pay
no,
full price to wear Red Bull.
yeah, same.
And that was a race Max won. So I definitely
Oh, you'd be in a sea of anger.
well, the Coda race I went to was the 2021 race, the one where Lewis was chasing him down at the end of the race in the year that Max won his first championship. So it was like a high stress, high emotion race. And oh god, one of the best days of my entire life.
I would be shocked to see that. Well, I wouldn't be shocked. I bet Haas keeps their like Coda ticket thing, and then there's two other teams in the U.S., so there might be a Cadillac in Las Vegas. That seems more likely, and then a Ford in Miami or something like that.
See, I think it'd be the other way around. I think Ford, with the relationship Red Bull already has with Vegas, where they do the car on top of the casino and the drive through the Bellagio and stuff like that. They already have a good relationship with Vegas, and that seems
Yeah,
more Red Bull's flashy style. But
that's
also, they
fair.
had a lot
Yeah.
of special shit in Miami. That's the other thing is one of the teams with American roots is now Red Bull with Ford backing, and that's a
That can't feel good for
lot of
Gene
money.
Haas.
That's a lot of money compared to what Gene Haas is willing to spend on it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like probably hundreds of millions more than what Gene Haas is
I
willing to
know
spend.
if Ford's GT program is any example of, and this is where we'll get into the nerdy sponsorship stuff. That is my side of the world because that's my actual career stuff. Um, Re- Ford's activations for IMSA in places like Detroit, Indianapolis, Daytona, they do a hell of a job with that. They put a lot of money and a lot of resources into their activation programs at and around races. And if they're doing that for their IMSA GT3 program, imagine what they're going to do with their Red Bull F1 program. I have a feeling Ford's going to be throwing the bulk of their marketing resources towards a lot the 3 US races this year and possibly even the Canadian race because in all reality Montreal is the closest race to Detroit.
True.
So you could and it you could save some money on what you were going to do in Miami if you do early season Montreal because that's in the same time frame as Miami. And if you're going to bring a bunch of your employees there, it's actually a lot cheaper to go to the Montreal race than it is to go to the Miami race, and you won't be competing as much with others. So I could see Red Bull doing a big activation at Montreal too.
Yeah, because Ford naturally views things. I mean, they are an American team, but they naturally view things as North America.
Yeah. And with the
So
inclusion of Red Bull, I feel like you're going to see even more of that. And it's going to be they're not going to waste money in Mexico because of Cadillac and Sergio Perez. Stupid. And I think that also may be why they back off Coda a little bit is because I think Cadillac will do a shit ton because as someone who's been to Coda when Sergio Perez was a driver there, holy shit, do his fans show out. Even in Miami they show out, but in Coda they really showed out. And it was an incredible amount. So I think Cadillac, that's also where Haas is kind of fucked though, because Cadillac now has Texas
I was gonna
because of
say, I was like,
Sergio Perez.
Haskets like quadruple fucked then.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a Mexican fan base. And they've been a staple of Coda, but now that Perez drives for Cadillac,
Yeah, that's double
it,
dipping for Cadillac. Not only do they have the North American market a little bit with that, but now you add one of the most famous athletes in Mexico, period, to your team, and wow,
they get
now you're
Coda
really
and
cooking.
Mexico and Miami.
Yeah,
And I'm
very much
not,
so.
I'm very certain in the fact that Cadillac's not afraid to spend money, given the fact like how much content they put out on YouTube
Mhm.
about the whole process. Like, I think Haas is going to be the losing team in this whole US team thing because Haas is a US name with a British team, which is the first problem. The other problem I won't mention because as much as I want to Gene Haas to see this and get pissed off, that's a thing. But also, like, you have actually like two genuinely American teams now. Like, their factories are in the US. Cadillac has the upper hand over Red Bull in terms of US market share because they have Perez. A lot of the US loves Perez,
Yeah. Well, and I
and
mean,
they'll take Miami and Coda.
and the fact is that's a very tribal war. GM versus Ford is a tribal war,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
so the people who are, I mean, I am one of those people. I am a very hardcore Ford supporter in the endurance series. Fuck Corvette all the way. I don't root for Corvette and anything because I root for Ford and the Mustang. And it's very tribal in that way. And I cannot tell you how happy I was that Ford is who Red Bull partnered with and not GM. Let me tell you, because that would have pissed me off to no end. But there is a big thing in the States with that, and that's going to create a really fun rivalry if Cadillac can build a decent car. And it will also carry over to endurance racing. It already has, because you already have the Corvette versus the Mustang. Ford's building a hypercar, so you'll have the Cadillac hypercar against the Ford hypercar. So at three of the most important levels of car racing, you are going to have GM versus Ford at the top level, because I do think Cadillac is going to end up being a top level team. They have no reason to not be. They have the resources, they have the people. This should be a top level team, which is why I think them and Red Bull are sniping at each other so much, is they're both a danger. The
Yeah.
true team in danger here, and this is gonna piss some people. The true team in danger right now is Ferrari.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, it was Mercedes, Ferrari, and occasional Red Bull. Then Red Bull stepped up and it was Mercedes, Red Bull, and occasionally Ferrari. Then McLaren came along and Mercedes fell off a bit. And then it's like, all right, now it's Red Bull, McLaren, and occasionally either Ferrari or Mercedes. Now you're getting in a situation where I think Cadillac is better poised for the future market. Like, like if you're putting the same engine in two cars, I have more faith in Cadillac to create a better car than I do in Ferrari. And if
Yeah.
they're running the same exact engine, Ferrari may be better in the short term, but I think long term, Cadillac might be the better team. And
Yeah.
they might come off the ground within a couple races and already start besting Ferrari. We could be in say Mercedes builds good engine like we're expecting. And Mercedes is one of the top teams. Alpine is switching to Mercedes. They might be fighting up at the upper end of the midfield just because of that. McLaren is running the Mercedes engine, so they'll be good. Red Bull, I just have too much faith in that team to believe that they'll fumble this. Even if they struggle at first, eventually they'll get it right. There's too many good people at that team. They'll get it. Audi, I have a lot of faith in that team. I really do. I think they could be something. You notice I'm starting to get down a list of a lot of teams here that have a lot more faith in building something good than Ferrari.
Yeah. And the fact that you said Audi makes my heart happy.
But Audi just has a track record of being good at things.
They make great cars.
And the care that they've given to this project gives me a lot of faith. And we haven't even mentioned Williams, who will also be using the Mercedes engine and who already were able to achieve podiums last year. We'll see what they're able to do this year, but James Vowles knows what the hell he's doing. And I believe James Vowles will do a good job and at least make this a punchy team. Do you see how I'm going here? Like, who's the team that doesn't feel like they're taking the steps needed? Ferrari. Ferrari is solely dependent on if this engine is good or not, but I'm not convinced Ferrari is the best team running a Ferrari engine.
You single-handedly fucked up my whole last question of the podcast to end it, which was, what's your hot take? Because you just went on like a 15-minute rant about how much Ferrari sucks. So
I'll give you a hot take. Ferrari will suck so bad Lewis Hamilton will retire at the end of this year. That's my hot take.
Clipped it. Because I need that. We need that.
That's my hot take of the year, that this will be the last year of Lewis Hamilton in Formula One because Ferrari will be that bad and he will lose the last bit of hope he had.
I agree with that, though. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. My hot take is, and I'm saying this excluding Red Bull Ford because Red Bull, I think Cadillac and Audi are going to be consistent top 7 contenders.
All right.
That's my hot take.
I can go deeper with my hot take on Ferrari if you want.
I mean, we got 7 minutes, so.
All right, I'll give you one. Cadillac will win a race before Ferrari wins another one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Ferrari will 100% lose a race to Cadillac.
My full belief is that Cadillac will win a race before Ferrari does.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% Audi won't win a race before Ferrari does.
Who do you think wins the race first, Audi or Cadillac?
Cadillac.
Really?
Yeah. I believe in the Cadillac project in a way I wish I didn't. Everything that I have seen them do is what I think a team in their position should do. They brought in 2 veterans who have been in winning teams as second drivers and know what they're doing. And that gives you 2 drivers who aren't going to scream running for the hills if they're not winning races right away. These are 2 consistent guys who will give you the same thing every week. They won't be the fastest guy on the grid, but they'll be consistent, and they'll be consistent enough for you to know what you have under you.
I would say the same for Audi, though.
But Audi's in a situation.
You've got Hulk. He's never ran screaming.
You do, but Hulk's never won a race.
No.
There's a difference between guys who have won races and who haven't.
Well, there's a difference
And
between guys that have won races and haven't, and there's a difference between guys that haven't won races and have a drive to win a race.
I agree, but when you put two guys who have won races in top teams, and in Perez's case, won a race in a crap team too, because don't forget his first win came for Force India. You put two guys who have won races in top teams, but both of them as second drivers in those teams. I think that matters. They weren't the
I think
top
that,
guys in that team to win races. So they are
but
going to be the more steady guy. And I think that's really important when you're starting out a team, because when you look at a Max or a Lewis, sometimes those are bad guys to build around because their expectations are so high. And you work so hard to match those expectations that sometimes you skip over the small cracks looking for speed. I don't think you're going to have that problem with Perez or Bottas. They're both steady, stable guys, and you can go step by step through your process. Not to mention, let's not forget, they have an incredible team at Caddy, whether it's the simulation drivers, whether it's, you know, everyone involved in that project. This isn't their first rodeo. They know what they're doing, and they have built this strategically smart. Not saying Audi haven't, but we've gotten to see more of what Caddy did. I
I will
can
say,
have more opinion on it because I've seen more of it.
that's fair. That's fair. I will say though, Audi has the upper hand in having Gabby, who is
I
very, very fresh to Formula One
and fast, very fast.
and fast, and is going to stick around probably a lot longer than Hulk will. And if you look at the scheme of things between three drivers, Bottas, Perez, and Hulk, all three of them are veterans in Formula One. All three of them have had their fair amount of seasons. Caddy has two veteran drivers that they'll have to replace at some point and start fresh with somebody else. Whereas Gabby, that was very intentional, actually. Gabby has, because it's not my middle finger, Gabby has the opportunity to actually build a long-term career with Audi because he is so fresh into Formula One. And then they can build around that. Whereas Caddy kind of has to go into the aspect of, well, we have two veteran drivers that could stick around for 3 to 5 more seasons. But then what?
But I also think the difference is Gabby is also the one who could be lured to a shiny new seat. You know,
That is fair.
Max leaves Red Bull and Gabby looks really good, and Red Bull throws a bag at Gabby.
I don't think Red Bull would throw a bag at Gabby first or
Depending
third.
on how he looks. If Gabby comes out in the next 2 years, looks like, holy shit, this is the next big deal, I can see Red Bull throwing a bag at him.
That's fair, but that's also like
Especially if Arvid doesn't pan out.
that's fair, and I think that deserves consideration. But
where I think Audi's benefit is Jonathan Wheatley.
Yes, and Matthias.
Matthias, yeah, on the technical side, yes, but Wheatley, I don't think people understand how good that man is.
And he's a former Red Bull person.
Well, and I think he may be one of the best team principals in F1. And
I would say him and James Vowles for sure.
I would put him above James.
Oh yeah, well, I was. It wasn't like a best of, but like
just
both
if you
of
look
them.
If you look operationally where Sauber was before Wheatley really got ingrained to where he is, they had a period at the beginning of one season where they were having 7-second pit stops because of a problem with equipment that they couldn't fix. And it was every race. And they just knew they were stuck with that. To where this year, they were the best team in pit stops. That's not an accident. That's leadership. Operationally, that is a great team. And that it's those little things, it's those little operations that lead to building a champion. Now they're very much beholden to how the Audi engine performs. If Audi comes out with a stellar engine, how soon they get to the front is changed. If Audi struggles with their engine at first, it may take a little while. So that's the caveat for them versus Cadillac.
Yeah.
Is one's dependent on someone else's engine and one's dependent on their own brand new engine being good enough. And that's going to tell a lot of who's more successful and who reliability is probably going to be a lot in that. But at least at the beginning, it'll be interesting to watch.
All right. So we're basically at the end of the show, but we have 45 days until F1 hits Australia for the first race of the season. Who do you think takes the first race of the season? We have no information, not much information on engines, things like that. This is pre-testing.
Pre-testing. Who takes the first race of the year?
Yeah.
Do I need team or do I need driver?
Let's say driver.
Fuck you. God, I'm gonna hate myself for this. I've never wanted to be wrong more in my life. George Russell.
Really? Oh shit. Ooh. Well, we just
If we're going honesty, that's what I feel.
Do you think Mercedes is gonna be that good?
I think they will at the start of the year. I think they'll start out ahead of everybody else. I don't think it will last, but I think they'll start that way. There's too many teams building new things, and I think there's enough. There's always fire where there's smoke. There's so much talk about the Mercedes engine that I have to believe at least some of it's true. And let's face it, George Russell's a good driver.
That's fair. I will not repeat that. It's hard. I would love to say Oscar. We don't know much about McLaren right now. We have no actual information. We haven't even seen their damn livery yet. But what I do know is that's Oscar's home race, and he's going to come back with a vengeance.
Last time he was there for a vengeance, he took 3 trips to the grass.
Yes, but but I think this is the year Oscar really dials in. His teammate won a championship, and some argue because of a blunder of a pit stop. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
In truth, championships are won over a season.
Exactly. But Oscar was hungry last year, and he showed it. He did a really great job in most cases, really showing that he can be an absolutely phenomenal driver. I think Oscar is going to be even more hungry now because his teammate won a world championship. But in that regard, he also has to be a bit more disciplined in his reaction to things on the track.
Yeah.
But I do think Oscar has the potential to take the first win of the season because he's hungry. His teammate won a championship last year, and it's his home race.
Yeah, you just went with who you wanted to win.
No, because I'm a Lando fan, so.
I know. I just had to give you shit for still choosing McLaren driver.
Well, I can't pick I could pick Max, but like that's
Ma-
probably a shoe-in. And I
Max
would
has a
have
bad history at Australia. That's always been a bad track for him.
I
That
truthfully though, I wanted to pick Arvid, but I don't think he's gonna win the first race of the season. Truthfully.
I don't. Yeah. Well,
Like
that racing bulls is.
I want Arvid to be absolutely incredible, but I can't pick him for the first race. Can I pick Arvid to be in the top 7 at the end of the season? Yes.
That's a stretch,
Well, it
but we'll
depends if he's
see.
a human wrecking. It depends if he's a human wrecking ball like he was last season in F2. If he's a human wrecking ball like he was last season in F2, he might not make it the whole season at Red Bull.
Yeah. I hope he learned patience.
Yeah. And like I also wanted to pick Hajar, but like the
Wouldn't
first
that
race
be
of the
wild?
season,
Can
that
you
would be
imagine?
insane. That would
Can
be
you
insane.
imagine if Isaac Hadger starts out his Red Bull career with a win? That would be wild. It would mean the Red Bull didn't suck, which I maybe that's my hot take point too. I think it's gonna start bad.
Yeah. But also if Hajar won the first race of the season in a new car, the British media would go fucking crazy for Red Bull, and it would be a wild turn of events. Sky Sports would become immediate Red Bull fans.
Oh no, they would just immediately shit on Max because that's what they do. Oh, see what happens when they don't favor Max? Someone else wins, or whatever Ted
Touche.
Kravitz will say today.
Touche.
See, Perez was right.
That's fair. But I think that's a good place to end the show.
Yeah.
We were speculating 30 minutes, and now we're at an hour and 6. So.
Yeah. Let me tell you, my eye was speculating 30 minutes too. This fucker is screaming.
But yeah. Also, I would like to mention that we weren't live on Twitch at all, apparently. Thanks, Riverside.
Sounds right.
Also, currently, the last 2 episodes, I've basically ruined any opportunity we ever had to be sponsored by Riverside. So
we will not be on the commercial.
But that's because I am neck deep in Riverside every week of every year. So, yeah. Sorry, Twitch. But also, I guess last week, well, not last week, we weren't even live. So 2 weeks ago, sorry, Twitch. But also, again, what we said at the beginning of the episode is no more Twitch unless it's like a very special thing. So like first race of the season, we plan to live stream on Twitch, and then it'll kind of be splattered throughout.
Yeah, and given how bad Riverside's optimization has been with Twitch, we'll probably just go off Twitch and then do an actual episode that's an actual episode of our podcast instead of trying to make them both the same thing. We'll just go live on Twitch and then do an episode per normal.
Yeah, because the last time we did that for the last race of the season, it was a fucking nightmare. Granted, that was at like 7 a.m. our time.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't the most friendly race time ever.
No, it was also the most boring podcast. It was so much dead silence.
And there was nothing going on in the race, so that didn't help. That race was way boring, which made it also boring.
I was drinking coffee the entire episode, and it was making me more tired. So,
all right, that's a good place to stop. So we will see you all next weekend when we get to talk about my fun little trip to the 24 Hours of Daytona and what happened there, and any more news that we get throughout the week with new cars, liveries, all that stuff. So look forward to seeing you guys all again next week. For F1 Unhinged, I'm Josh.
I'm Tyler.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in.